Where do they get their ideas? Great writers have often started with earlier source works and improved on them. You'll be researching how that's done. You'll also be learning how to choose good sources for your own research.
Thanks for donating to my school's book drive, Grandmother. Can I toss the story of Ye Shen in the donation box?
Not Ye Shen. It was my favorite book as a child.
Who's Ye Shen?
She's a character in a Chinese fairy tale. Ye Shen is sent to live with her evil stepmother who treats her badly. Her only friend is a hungry fish who she kindly feeds. Ye Shen cannot go to the spring festival. Her stepmother fears she'll be chosen to be the king's wife instead of her own daughter. In the end, Ye Shen marries the king.
Sounds like Cinderella.
Right. Ye Shen was written in the 9th century. Later, the Grimm's fairy tale retold it differently. Like instead of a fish being the girl's friend, Grimm's tale used mice.
So, writers sometimes borrow characters from other stories to write a similar story in a new way?
That's right. And I'm sure there are other versions of this story, too. That would be something you could easily research if you are interested.
Ye Shen and Cinderella are good-hearted characters who are rewarded for their hard work and for being good to others. The stepmothers in both stories are cruel and selfish and always lose in the end.
I guess that's very true in a lot of stories.
Researching source texts and archetypes. How can a reader tell when a writer has drawn from an earlier source in creating his or her work? Learn the procedure in this video, then in your own research and writing.
Hi there, it's me, Rosa. My teacher has assigned a short paper about archetypes in one of our favorite novels. Writing a paper about archetypes and source texts might sound mysterious, but it's not so different from writing about any other aspect of a work of literature. With some careful planning and research, I'm sure I can do it. Time to start planning. The first step is to brainstorm and identify the archetype that I am going to write about. An archetype is a character, situation, or symbol that represents something universal about being human. The hero is one archetype. My favorite book is Starflight. It is from the Heroes of the Galaxy series and includes a hero named Rabia that I think is a good example of the hero archetype. So the topic of my research paper is going to be how Rabia in Starflight fits the hero archetype. In order to find information about my topic, I'm going to need to identify sources. And since my teacher has asked us to use some electronic sources, I will need to identify a search term to use in a search engine. A search term should not be too general, but it shouldn't be too specific either. Finding the best search term is a trial and error process, but I think hero archetype is a winner. Once you've identified a great search term and gotten lots of results, you will need to evaluate them. The internet contains millions of reliable sources of solid facts and information, and millions of sources of wild rumors, untrustworthy opinions, and ignorant misstatements. When you do research, you need to be able to distinguish reliable sources from unreliable ones. Signs that a source may be reliable includes the following. 1. The authors are experts on the topic. 2. The authors cite their own sources so readers can check them. 3. The source is recent. 4. The source is created by an established institution, such as a government department or a university. 5. The source is well known and widely used. Now that I've found some good sources, I'll need to record the information I find in each source on a note card that tells where I found the information. Source number 1. Archetypal heroes often travel to distant lands and overcome obstacles to complete their quests. www.archetypes.university.edu. When I finished gathering information from my sources, I'll be able to start organizing and outlining my paper. With a little planning, including brainstorming, identifying more sources of information and text evidence, organizing ideas, and creating an outline, I'm good to go. And this gives me a great excuse to reread my favorite book, Starflight